Hello everyone. Today in our series of class guides we're going to look at the rogue and more specifically sub-rogue. Sub-rogue has been buffed through the teeth. In 6.2 it's huge single target burst and very good single target spec. That actually in stat-wise synergizes pretty well with combat, so you can run a sub and combat pretty easily in Hellfire Citadel. Let's have a look at stats first. Mastery increases the damage of finishing moves and the effectiveness of slice and dice by your amount of mastery. Our main stat is going to be multi-strike. Couple reasons why. The first one is sub is based around big hits and big openers with ambushes that will crit above 120k. That's the first reason. Usually the classes that do a lot of big damage on one spell like multi-strike. See Marksmanship Hunter, Frost Mage, etc. When there are not other mechanics. In our case this applies, but also it synergizes very well with Venomous Wounds? No, Sanguinary Veins. No, sorry. Where is it? It basically is with our Rupture buff. Why do I miss this? Sinister Calling, sorry. So Sinister Calling increases your total GT by 15%. Okay, that's good actually, but whatever. 5% more multi-strike stats and from all sources. And when you multi-strike with backstab or ambush, you twist the blade, causing all of your bleed effects, meaning rupture, to advance by 2 seconds, triggering an instant tick. So basically, every time you multi-strike with your generators, because you're going to use backstab and ambush, you advance the tick by 2 seconds. So you're going to get rupture that usually lasts about 25 seconds. 24 seconds at max rank. It can last like less than 10 seconds because you get tick, and this is going to be a good source of your damage with a lot of multi-strike. So that's why multi-strike is extremely good. So in terms of talents and glyphs, so multi-strike first, mastery second, and then crit versatility, haste, crit versatility are on par, and haste is below. You don't need haste because your energy regen, it's slice and dice, and you have already a high attack speed with the mastery buff on slice and dice. So haste is not very good in sub talents. First level, okay, if you're starting with the spec, I suggest Shadow Focus. Because it's gonna lower your energy cost while stealth, you're gonna cast more ambushes. But this is an overall DPS loss compared to Subterfuge, which becomes very powerful as you get gear. Basically, your abilities requiring stealth can be used for 3 seconds after stealth breaks. That gives you an extra 3 seconds in stealth. And remember, when you're on stealth, you do 15% more damage as sub. So this is the way to go. Level 30, we don't care. A lot of people take combat readiness, but this is irrelevant. Here, pick your poison. No pun intended. Either leeching poison to get 10% leech. It's good on fights where there's some constant but not burst damage. Cheat death if you need to take like a huge hit. And elusiveness when you activate Feint to reduce damage by 30%, could be good while soaking fires in Zodrak. Rogues are unkillable this expansion, so you're going to be on bitch duty on a lot of these fights to clear fire, do mechanics, but you can get back to the boss very quickly with the Shadow Step. It's going to disappear in Legion apparently, or stay Assassination, but yeah, you appear behind your target. Friendly as well, so you can Shadow Step to friendly target. Remember. Here dirty tricks, but PV implications are minimal. Level 90, either Mark for Death or Anticipation. Where I like Anticipation because it allows you to go to 9 common points and pool, and this is going to be part of the gameplay of Rogue is pulling energy and pulling combo points for big phases, especially with the Soul Capacitor, that thing here. Level 100, Shadow Reflection. Memorize. It's a boring talent, but the other ones don't work. Venom Rush is clearly for combat. Death from above doesn't work, unfortunately, because it looks damn cool, but that's life, eh? Glyphs. Energy is DPS increase, maximum energy by 20. You're going to be pooling energy because you want to cast 2 ambushes at 60 energy. So it is an overall DPS gain. Minor, but still. Glyph of Vanish, major DPS gain because increases the duration of your Vanish effect by 2 seconds. You're going to be stealth for 2 seconds extra. At first we thought it was a bug with Subterfuge, but you know, you could combine the two, but actually it works. So Glyph of Emerging Veins, you do 30% more damage to targets that are bleeding. So here it helps by let's say you have a NAD that needs to die quick, but you don't want to rupture on them because you would rather burst him. You can drop 1 hemorrhage and you'll still get the damage bonus. So this is good in fights where you need to target switch. So yeah. Now, how do we play this bad boy? It gets some time to be used to. I suggest you get weak auras here. To track Slice and Dice, to track cooldowns, to track Vanish. So let's talk about first about the maintaining phase. Let's say the phase when you're not under cooldowns. You basically want to have Slice and Dice up all the time and Rupture up. So here in this situation, and you just build combos points with Backstab. Rupture here takes the color, and Slice and Dice takes color was when I can refresh it. So you just refresh that. You want to be at high number of combo points ideally, and high energy, waiting for your cooldowns to pop. Okay, so this is in its core it's a simple maintain spec, but it gets interesting. It gets interesting when you come to the opener and to the phases when you're going to be stealth. So we're going to base a lot of our damage around stealth as a sub-rogue. What are the ways we can stealth? We can stealth in the opener. You can stealth with the Night Elf Racial. You can stealth with Vanish and with Prep. And you can stealth, not really stealth, but use abilities as if you were in stealth with Shadow Dance. So these are going to be our main sources of staying stealth. The interesting part is when you ambush in stealth, well, you can only ambush in stealth, but anyway, you get a buff called Find Weakness. And of course I won't find it here. Where is it? Okay, it's not here for some reason. Let me see if it's here. No, it's not. Anyway, so Find Weakness makes you do more damage to a target which you attacked, ambushed while you were in stealth, and as a consequence, you want maximum uptime on that one. So you want to maximize the uptime of Find Weakness. So let's say we live in a world where there's no Shadow Dance, and I want to Vanish, attack, use Prep, and reuse Vanish again to have, what is it, 10 seconds or a bit more actually of being stealth. What I want to do is, of course, I will attack while I'm stealth, but at the last second of stealth, I want to redo one ambush to extend the Find Weakness buff for 10 seconds. And this is the basic of the spec. You want to get maximum Find Weakness at uptime while you're in your burst mode. So we're going to talk about the opener a little bit. The opener, you will have 0 combo points. What you do is you hit Premeditation on the target at 8 seconds remaining. At 2 seconds remaining, you pop Slice and Dice. You Shadow Step behind the boss. Then Potion, Vanish, Shadow Dance, Shadow Reflection, Rupture, and then you start ambushing. And you make sure that you don't overcap on combo points. Ideally, you want to use Rupture in the same global, then you use your cooldowns. So here it's done. I can Prep, Vanish, and continue hacking away. And I'm looking at when my vanish ends, and right before it ends, I do another vanish to get 10 more seconds of find weakness uptime. And then it's back to normal rotation. Now, this is your basic burst part. So I did it slowly to demonstrate how it goes. I don't have the legendary ring on me here, but you would need to activate it, of course, at that point. It's important that you do a rupture during shadow reflection so that you get 2 ruptures on the target because of your shadow, so to speak. But then it's just having maximum find weakness uptime. It's basically that. Once you get used to it, it's not extremely hard. Now the issue comes with the full set because so the 2 set from tier 18 Vanish awards 5 combo points. That's also why you use it in the opener, but also increase the damage done by 30%. That's why you use it in the opener. It's because it gives 30% damage. And so if you count the damage multipliers, it's a bit like an arcane mage in that sense. If you count the damage multipliers, you get 30% from your vanish. You get 50% armor penetration, 100% armor penetration, sorry, from find weakness. You get the subterfuge, you get the stealth bonus with subterfuge, you get the soul capacitor if you have it, and you get the ring. So you get crazy damage multipliers, which will amount to doing at my gear 715 without the legendary ring. I am getting something like 130k, 140k on pull, 150 maybe. I could squeeze a bit more if I manage a bit better my find weakness uptime. And with the legendary ring, it's up to 200, 250k. It's insane. It is insane. And basically, you want to repeat that every burst phase. So the full set, which is interesting because you eviscerate and rupture. So when you refresh your rupture or you eviscerate, reduce the cooldowns of your vanish by 1 second per combo point used. So every time you refresh rupture or you eviscerate, there's 5 less seconds on vanish. So it comes to a point where vanish is supposed to be a 1.5 minute cooldown, but the effective cooldown of vanish is actually really, really lower. It's around, I would say, 50 seconds each time. So that will allow you to vanish during the pull and just a bit after the pull, a second time with prep, and then it will allow for your next shadow dance 1 minute after. And it will be up also for the shadow reflection, shadow dance in the next cycle of cooldown. So when it's like 5-second delay, you can delay vanish to line it up with those cooldowns. But usually it's better not necessarily not to do that because you want more find weakness uptime, basically. One thing to keep in mind is pull your energy before using Vanish, Shadow Dance, because you want to be able to cast ambushes and it's expensive with Subterfuge, so don't spam it mindlessly. Pull a bit of energy just before. You will be able to do way more ambushes this way. And I think that's about it about the rotation. Obviously, it's just a short version, but it will be a bit complicated at first, and you see very variable results. But you'll get the hang of it as it progresses. Now, gear. The head from Comrock is your best in slot in terms of tier. It's your best tier piece, so you're gonna keep that. This is from Mythic Blackrock Foundry, but I think there's a good necklace that drops on Archimond. This one you might want to offset it. You might want to use a craft on this one, for example. But yeah. Here I use, there's not very interesting cloaks, so I use a craft, Mastery Multi-Strike. Here I use a craft as well because I don't have the tier piece from Gorfin yet, which is actually one of the best ones. Crit Multi-Strike, this is the best in slot. Bloodcut Braces, I don't know where it comes from. Fang of the Pit from Manoroth. This is the best in slot. Best in slot left weapon. You need a slow weapon on your left hand, ideally, and this one is great because it has a ton of multi-strike. Runax, sorry, it's Hammer of Wicked Infusion. I don't remember from when it drops, but by the eye level, I would say 700. I would say it is from Velari. I think it is. Or Zakun, whatever. Fellblade Gloves, Haste and Multi-Strike. This is a good piece because it has Multi-Strike. Well, Haste is crap, but whatever. But it's going to be your best piece for combat, so you want to keep that one. This is good. Mastery Multi-Strike, Waste Wrap of Banishment. This is the absolute best. This is one from one of the later bosses. I think it's even from Archimond. Haste Mastery, this is your worst. Not your worst, sorry. It's the second worst tier piece. But it has Mastery, so what can you say? Here I get a craft. There's a good one with Haste and Multi-Strike BOE that you can buy. That's good. Here I should have a Legendary Ring, but I'm not done the quest yet. Here, this one, we switch for the Legendary Ring. Crit multi on this one, Portal Key Signet. This is from Xolorak. Archimon Trinket, of course. 126% damage on Ambush and Garrote. This is broken. And Soul Capacitor from Sokrithar, which is a second legendary ring, so to speak. So I suggest you create yourself a cancel or a macro for it when the ring goes off, because you want the explosion of the Soul Capacitor inside the ring, not outside, otherwise you're fucked. So you should track that. You could do some weak aura macros. It's the same there are here. Ancients or multi-strike, both weapons Mark of the Frostwolf. Alternatively, if you have very, very high levels of multi-strike, you can enchant Mastery, but I think it's still better to have Frostwolf, especially since your left hand doesn't proc very well. Food, Salty Squid Roll, Agility Flask, and that's pretty much it about the sub-rogue. So one more time just for the opener. You're in stealth, you pre-med, slice and dice, you go in behind the boss, you ambush once, then in the first GCD, vanish, shadow dance, shadow reflection, rupture, then hack away. Make sure you don't cap. Here I'm doing 160k without potion. And doing it very, very slowly. So see, I mean, this is sub-rogue for you. Anyway. Okay, I hope this was understandable. Leave comments if you like, if you have questions, and see you next time.